Okay, you're good to go.
Okay, thank you. Okay, we'll call the meeting to order. We're at Committee of the Whole, the 27th of May. Record of attendance. We don't have Jim absent with regrets. That's good. Is Heather on? If Heather's not on, I'm looking for, she did send me a note, so I'm looking.
Yes.
Yeah, just a motion for Heather. Thank you, Councillor Lesser, second by Councillor McLeod. All those in favor? Aye. Contrary? Motion carried, and she may come on in a bit. Declarations of conflict of interest, and you can certainly declare at the time of the agenda item. I don't see anything. Approval of agenda. Any additions or deletions? You'll see, excuse me, we've added bursaries there. We had 2 bursaries come in, so we'll talk about those a little bit later. Are there any more additions? And Jeff, there are a couple things that may be in camera. We can do that after.
I have a question, Pam, and
Go ahead.
And the techie person. I'm looking at my computer, and I see. Am I going to see the information about the meeting? I don't see that right now.
What do you mean the information?
The agenda.
The agenda, you would have to bring that agenda up on your computer.
So I use the town computer, and I'm looking at six pictures,
Yep.
6 individuals.
Yeah, so you would have to switch back and forth. You'd have to Alt-Tab. You'd have to bring up your agenda, which would be in the calendar. When you go into the calendar.
All right, just a second. I just want to be there. I think
it's in the calendar.
Yep, it would be.
Oh. It's just that this was almost an afterthought to join. So I'll just work with the agenda. You guys don't need to see me for whatever.
No, you can, yeah, either way, you can Alt-Tab back and forth.
Yeah, so Lindsay has just sent the link in the chat. If you just want to click that link, that should take you to the agenda.
I have the agenda now, Jeff. Thank you.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you,
Okay.
Lindsay.
So any additions or deletions, folks? Anybody have anything? Okay, motion to approve the agenda with the addition of the bursaries. Councillor Lesser, second by Deputy Mayor. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Contrary? Motion carried. Thank you. Okay, so next we have Tim Doucette's here, and he's with Deep Sky Deep Sky, so he's going to do something on the Deep Sky friendly lighting. So Lindsay can get that set up, and welcome, Tim. We're glad to have you.
Thank you, Mayor Moot. Can you hear me just fine?
We sure can.
Super. All right. So let's get started.
Tim, you got a green screen behind you. I thought maybe you would have some space things happening behind
I do, but for some reason, when I joined your meeting, it won't let me add a custom background.
Oh, okay.
I turned it off.
Okay, so maybe we'll get everybody on mute. You can mute yourselves, and then if you need to speak, then you can unmute, and then Tim will have a full.
There we go. Okay, so I'm just going to share my screen here. And
Did he lock up, Jeff?
Oh, here he goes. coming back
Okay.
in.
Thank you.
My audio went out at the same time. Sorry about that. Okay, I'm having difficulty admitting him as a guest. Lindsay, can you intervene on this as the organizer?
Yeah, I'm hitting admit, but it's not seeming to load, so.
Maybe we need to, I still see him on the screen frozen up. Does that need to be ended before he can be admitted again, I wonder? Okay. There he is.
You're muted, Tim.
There, how's that?
There we go.
Okay, let's try again. Of course, the techie guy has the technical problems.
It's all good.
Hello.
Okay, so we are almost there.
Neil, we're just, Tim's just about to get started. That's where we are. Gonna try to share his screen.
You're not on a Mac, are you, Tim?
I am, yeah.
Macs can't share presentations through Teams.
It,
I've learned that before with a presentation I tried to do with a COA.
oh,
The hard way.
let me just try something actually. So I think I can do it. I can do it.
We're seeing the screen, but it looks like a calendar.
Yeah, just one sec.
Okay.
Calendar. Okay, so I'm going to do it this way. It's very strange, actually. Teams that does that. So what do you see now?
See a few different windows, it looks like, opened on your screen.
Okay.
Your presentation is there in the upper right corner.
Okay. So what I'll do is I will shrink this just a little bit. Unfortunately, you'll see my presenter notes, but we'll go from there. right, let's, unfortunately, this is how it has to be for now. It seems like, at first when I thought we were using Zoom, so it was a last minute thing to get this actually Teams going. So, close off some stuff here. All right, so thank you very much for inviting me, Mayor Mood and fellow councilors. It's a pleasure to be here. And so my name is Tim Doucette, as you all know. I'm the owner-operator of the Deep Sky Observatory, and I'm also the chairman of the Starlight Development Committee for our region. And today I want to talk to you about something that actually could change the face of Yarmouth in a very positive way. And it's not something really, dark sky lighting we think of, as, oh, we have to turn the lights out and that sort of thing. And that's not the case. And I'm going to show you a few things today that will actually maybe hopefully change your mind on the subject, and you may see the benefits of what it could offer the town. So just going to recap for a minute. As we know, our region has been certified as a dark sky area in 2014 by the Starlight Foundation from Spain. And we're currently the only one in North America, and still are since 2014. It's called Acadian Skies and Mi'kmaq Lands. The Starlight Foundation is actually a very large organization that's backed by UNESCO, the International Astronomical Union, and the World Tourist Association. So they have a lot of pull, and for us to have a designation with them is a very good thing. So we have to really set laws in place for, the protection of the night skies. And here's a view from Quinnen over the years, from 2015 that I have up to 2020 actually. And you can see the lighting situation has changed a little bit. The color is different because of the new LED lighting. Has increased a little bit in the white spectrum of light, which is not really a good thing. So we'll talk a little bit about that, and I'll explain why. So in 2016, I created the Deep Sky Eye Observatory basically as a tourist attraction, and opened it up as a tourist attraction because I really knew that stargazing would take off in our region. And since then, we created world-class experiences that has seen 1,000 people, prior COVID per year visiting the observatory. Since then, stargazing experiences around the Tri-Counties have exploded a bit. Wedgeport Trail, we've created platforms, night hikes, stargazing. Trail Point Lodge has, and actually there's been a few Airbnbs that are creating stargazing platforms in the region and promoting that as, as an experience to do. The Yarmouth and Acadian Shores has started, we worked with the Yarmouth Acadian Shores. They created the tagline, "Where the Stars Align," and they help promote these experiences around, and it's been proven very positive. And so later on in 2018, sorry, our region certification actually won an award called Diffusion of the Astronomy. And it's basically that we're, showing that we're sharing the night sky with people, giving educational, talks, trying to protect the night sky. And that's an important piece. And it's the first time that they've had these awards. And Yarmouth and Acadian Shores was awarded, the Acadian Skies and Mi'kmaq Lands was awarded that award. So we created the Starlight Development Committee with a set of goals to promote the Starlight Initiative, to grow astrotourism, create infrastructure on, for night sky viewing, platforms, trails, that sort of thing. Promoting astronomy in the education system. We're working on a pilot project now with one of the local schools to bring astronomy and education of our area into the school. So we've been trying to engage our leaders to, help protect the night skies through education and legislation. In 2020, we worked with Argyle, and we now have, as part of the land use bylaw, lighting, protection of the night sky guidelines for any new developments that are happening. We're in the process right now of talking with Nova Scotia Power and Efficiency Nova Scotia to promote and select the next generation of dark sky friendly lighting, street lighting. And we're also, the Royal Astronomical Society of Canada has been engaging the federal government in the last couple of years on the issue of light pollution across the country. So some of the cities have gotten so big that it's almost impossible. I won't say impossible. It's very difficult to get dark sky friendly skies. I like to use Flagstaff as as an example. 72,000 people in that city, and yet you can see the stars from that city. It took decades to bring it to that. Luckily, Yarmouth only has a population of 7,000, so I figured we can do it in a year. It can take a while to get things set up, but if it's done right, it doesn't have to be terribly costly, and the benefits will outweigh the cost. So what is light pollution? Well, basically it's simply light that shines where it's not needed or wanted. Light that shines up in the sky is literally wasting energy. The world has just recently, in the last 10, 15 years, realized the effects that the planet is paying for our mistakes. And a lot of the cities have jumped on board and trying to replace their lighting to even something better. Now, in astronomy world, the Bortle scale is used to describe how dark skies are. And it's shown that 80% of the world lives under light polluted skies where they actually can't see the Milky Way at all. So looking at a Bortle class 5 and above. 60% of people that have visited the observatory have never seen the Milky Way galaxy ever. And I keep saying that because it's really important because people leave with a sense of awe and, want to come back year after year to see the night sky and spend some time under it. Quinnan is actually under a Bortle 2, a 1.5 to 2. We were under a 1 probably about 10, 15 years ago. But it's slowly starting to creep up because of not just Yarmouth, but because of the local growth and not having light pollution regulations in place. So what is dark sky friendly lighting? Four very simple things that we talk about when we talk about dark sky friendly lighting. The brightness of a light, we used to be able to use wattage when we went and talked about light. You say, hey, I want to go get a 100-watt light bulb. Try to go get a 100-watt LED and see what you get. Guaranteed your neighbors won't sleep. Now we use a term called lumens, which is the brightness of a light. So we can actually, reduce the wattage and increase the lumens, which is actually really cool because of the way LEDs work. Shielding is probably one of the more important ones as well. Shielding is the shields that go over the lights or lights that are built so that they're inset. So they're directing light where you want them, where you walk, where you, where you're shopping, that sort of thing. The color of the light is very important as well. Anything above 2700 Kelvin, which is up in this area here, we call bioactive light. And basically that affects humans as it does animals, plants. And out in the country here, I've replaced my lights to use amber color lights, and it definitely attracts less bugs. So if you're having mosquito problems, you might want to look at your outdoor lighting and see what you're using for lighting. If it's more of a white and blue color, you're just asking for bugs.
Will it keep deer away?
Deer, it might not. That's a good question. I'll have to get back to you on that. I think any light might scare deer most of the time.
We wish.
You guys have a problem with deer over there, right? So the timing of the light is also very important. Light should only be used where it's needed on motion sensors or timers. And even after a certain time of night, dim the lights. They don't need full power to be able to see. Now we're talking about smart lighting, where as vehicles pass in certain places, the lights will actually come on. Street lights, or when people are walking along sidewalks, lights come on. So there's all kinds of really great opportunities to enhance that. A couple of myths. More light does not equal better security. That's one of the biggest myths. Here's an example. There's plenty of light here. And it's actually, the picture is actually a little bit overexposed. But you see the gentleman in the middle there. Where did he go? Where is he hiding? He's actually hiding in the shadows behind the light pole there. So if I go back, you'll see he'll kind of pop in there. So it shows that sharp shadows, you want to avoid sharp shadows. So lighting design is critical on how we interpret, how we design lighting areas. A better light is better security. So here's another example. Somebody puts, a nice bright light on the side of their house, thinking they're safe, and what looks better and what you avoid. You got shadows here in the corner behind the vehicles, around the side of the house. Instead of using a bright light like that, let's redesign it. Same house, much different and much better lit area, and it's not shining light up into the trees, affecting the wildlife next door and all that. So more light improves visibility, not necessarily at all. Lights that tend to blind you, especially now with the new LEDs, they're excessively bright and tend to, reduce your visibility on objects that are in other places around it. So what about existing lights? What can we do? Well, you have two real options. Number one is a retrofit. Add a light shield to the lights and add a filter to reduce the blue color. You can also reduce, in some cases, they can reduce the wattage that goes to the lights, especially the LED ones, to reduce the brightness. The other option now is to replace lighting. Options today really are much more open. There's much more options as far as dark sky friendly lighting. We actually have a manufacturer in Halifax that designs the lights, that has a dark sky friendly set of amber lights, which is really exciting because Nova Scotia Power actually works with them anyway, so they got their street lights from them. So they'll be putting in requests for new things there hopefully soon. So why should you care about this? Well, besides, what are the benefits of going dark? Well, besides all these obvious sort of things that you may not thought of, it's bad for our health, nocturnal life, protecting species, endangered species, astronomy, and human connection. There's other reasons as well. I'm not going to dive into too deeply here, but I'd like to show you this because this is actually from April 1st. And in Philadelphia, they've actually are dimming the skyline, going dark to let the migrating birds pass so that they don't basically get destroyed or smashed into buildings and stuff, because it has become a huge problem in these large cities. Added benefits to Yarmouth. So Yarmouth really has a really good opportunity right now, especially with all the new technologies that are coming out. If we could add policies to protect the night sky, it will really set the stage, not just to add tourism, but also encourage other types of growth, as far as astronomy, which is really a gateway science in a lot of ways. It gets people's interest in science, and maybe they pursue another science like marine biology, oceanography. So it really opens up the door to different things, and it preserves part of our heritage. You never know, it may attract NASA to build an observatory here, and other large organizations that way. Oops. So what are next steps? Really, we need your support from the town, to protect the natural resources that are around here, as far as our beautiful dark skies, because if we don't have support from the towns and all of the municipalities surrounding, it's really a futile effort, because eventually we will lose it, and it will just be another another city that that's growing too fast and not really achieving the goals of dark sky protection. So just a couple of examples. Installation of lights is critical. So here is a light that doesn't quite meet the specifications, but it's shining down, it's pointing where it should be, it's not shining light on the side, it's just the wrong color, and it's actually on all night. But it's still better than nothing. Here's a light that's installed, the same kind of light, just installed horizontally, pointing sideways instead of pointing down. And as you can see, it's very detrimental to our night skies. Here's an example of a garage before and after retrofit, replacing lightings, much easier on people that are passing by in vehicles and whatnot. So I'd like to say right now, just a special thanks to all the businesses and residents that have already adopted the dark sky friendly lighting policy. It's really important. So really right now, all you guys, you guys have a decision to make. Do you grow like all the other cities and towns and just, kind of explode into, a light polluted area? Or do you really struggle to, or strive to protect that part of our heritage and, be able to, how would I say, embrace, the dark skies of Southwest Nova Scotia? We have our precious community, and I've always seen, Yarmouth as a town that is a heritage town, fishing and boat building and that sort of thing. And I think it's a really great thing to add, to kind of step back a little bit and keep some of that heritage. I know you guys, have been keeping the downtown beautiful and setting all that stuff. This just adds a ton to it. Anyways, I'd encourage you guys to really reach out to us as the Starlight Development Committee, and for any help we could provide to help with this dark sky initiative and helping in decisions when it comes to lighting. So yeah, I'd like to say thank you again, and any questions, Your Worship or councillors?
Yeah, that was great, Tim. Thank you very much. I think we know what we're surrounded by, and we're pretty fortunate. Any questions from anyone? Go ahead there, Councillor Cleveland.
First off, I'd like to say I spent a long time, my youth, stargazing and just laying outside where I was, watching the stars, and there were so many of them. And here's the thing, I wasn't that far outside of the town limits at this point. That same spot now where I was, I went there probably about a month and a half ago at night. I usually don't, but it's the old homestead. And it really struck me how you really don't see that many stars there anymore. Yeah. And that realization really hit me because I spent a lot of time, I haven't had much time to do any stargazing lately, but I spend a lot of time following you, Tim, and Brenda, and what you guys do, and the beautiful look of the stars here with the pictures that you take. And I really would like to go all in on this. I think that it's something that's really important as we grow. I want to see the growth, but I'd like to do it in a way that's environmentally aware in all ways. And certainly when it comes to this is more than just, and I know that this sounds almost pragmatic, I suppose, but it's more than just the environment. It is a way for us to create an even bigger tourism industry here because we offer something special. You have something special. And so I'd very much like to see us figure out a way to move forward with this, probably with your guidance. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Councillor. I've got a list here. So Councillor Lesser, then Councillor Dares, and then Mr. McKenzie.
Thank you, Tim. I haven't done a lot of stargazing like on a professional level, but as you know, the other night ended up seeing something in the sky that was quite fascinating. And I appreciate your help on trying to identify that. But I'm quite interested in all the work you're doing. And the international student program, when students come here from around the world, that's the number one thing they say about our area is the fact that we can see stars. And most of the students that are coming here have never seen stars or very seldom have seen stars before. And it is definitely like there's a tourism factor to that, because if you were to interview people coming here from away, on one of the things that they find most exciting, it is going to be the night sky. Like I've asked hundreds and hundreds of kids, and that's one of the top things that come up in every case. So
Yeah.
This sounds very exciting.
Thank you. Councillor Dares, and then.
Yeah, just a couple of things, Tim, quickly is the facade program over the years has encouraged downtown lighting to revert from the standard commercial lighting that you see the neon signs that are lit up to a downward facing gooseneck lighting.
Yeah.
And so I think that was a step in the right direction. And but I also wanted to point out that, and I don't know if it's still active or not, but there used to be a Star Lab program that was conducted in the schools. Actually, a friend of mine was one of the facilitators of that, and it was basically an inflatable dome that the kids would go in and lay down. I don't know if you're aware of it or not, but I wonder if that's still available, because I'll tell you, that really excited the kids about stargazing and kept them interested. I'm one of these guys that travels to Port Maitland Beach once in a while at night and lays on the sand with my family and stares up at the skies to see how many shooting stars we can see. And it's I think it's really exciting what you're doing, and I encourage it. And I hope that we can be a partner in this.
Wonderful.
Thank you, Councillor Neil, and then Jeff.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
And again, I'm here to support what Tim's doing. You all probably get a really great sense that Tim, for me and Yarmouth and Acadian Shores, what we do is really try to build on whatever Tim is doing and get out of his way when we need to. And the lane we try to be in is really the marketing piece and building the product and helping enhance and promote the product that we have with astrotourism. I would just be quick, and I would say that, you are all and our municipal partners are all investing in Yarmouth and Acadian Shores to drive visitation, build demand for tourism. And the way we do that is to leverage our opportunities that we have here. And certainly astrotourism is a huge pillar of our marketing that we do. We've jumped in pretty hard starting in 2015, 2016, and really started leveraging the opportunity behind the designation and all the work that Tim's done, and other people have built on it from there. So, if you look at it from an investment perspective into what you're putting into tourism, it's counterintuitive to be also then not considering the comments that Tim has made with regards to lighting, because you're actually taking away from some of that investment that you've made into driving visitation and helping people come. So, and Tim's right, in 2018, Airbnb designated the region as a trending astrotourism designation. We're still leveraging that trend and that claim by Airbnb, and certainly building more content and video and photography and all these things around astrotourism. So it is an opportunity for the region, and I don't think you'll ever get to the point where you'll be able to see the stars in the town, or maybe I should correct myself. Maybe that would be great if you could. But even if you can't, the tourism experiences that are around astrotourism that are outside of the town certainly benefit, hotel room nights and all the other experience in restaurants, et cetera, that gain from that tourism experience. So I'd just like to build on what Tim said, and I know you all get it, the value of visitation and tourism, and this is certainly a way to leverage that and also differentiate ourselves, our region, from other areas in the province and in even Canada and the world. And that's really key in marketing. We need to stand out and be different from everybody else, and this really helps us do that.
Thanks, Neil. Jeff, and then Heather, did you have your hand up?
Yes, I did.
Jeff, Heather?
Let Councillor Hatfield go ahead.
Okay, thanks, Jeff. Hi, Tim. I was a little late signing in, so I don't know if I know I didn't meet you, but I'm Councillor Heather Hatfield, and I am also chair of Communities in Bloom for the town of Yarmouth. And it was the Communities in Bloom committee actually that was discussing the dark skies light, and asked the town to to have you come and present to us so that we could learn more for that. So I really appreciate it. And I've sent a message to all the Communities in Bloom group, and I hope that they're all on watching, or we'll watch later, because they certainly had an interest in what you had to say. And just to kind of reiterate what some of the other folks say, but I have friends in Halifax with they live in South Ohio, but their grandchildren live in Halifax, and they come down, every summer, pre-COVID anyway. And one of their exciting things is just to pitch a tent in their grandparents' backyard and look at the stars, because in Halifax they don't see that, right? So it's and that really struck me, to think that Halifax is something place we go to all the time. We don't think anything of it, but yet at night these children cannot see the stars like they can here, and they come here to just enjoy it. So we do have a valuable asset, and I know that Neil and his group have been working hard with it, and I think we need to continue to do that. One of the things you mentioned about was, the town having a policy around that. Do we have one now, Jeff?
So we don't have bylaws in place. I think the appropriate place for this is twofold. One is a policy to guide our own activities and our own light footprint, but the other part is how do we regulate others, and that would be through the land use bylaw.
Okay. And is that something, Tim, that you'd be willing to work with us on if that decision was made to do that?
Absolutely, yes. I worked with Argyle on their bylaw as well, and we worked together. They hired a contracting company to help, a consulting company to help with the bylaw. I was asked to review it, and it's a good start. We set the stage for others to improve on it. Okay. So there's been a few members from the Royal Astronomical Society of Canada that have reached out to me, because they're trying to do the same thing in Nova Scotia here as well, in Kings County. So yeah, definitely I'd be willing to do anything to help out now. And I do want to make it very clear, as part of the Starlight Development Committee, I've always, since we started this whole project, to me, I've seen the grand vision, not, the fact that I have a little business is fine. We did this, as an experiment, really, to see how, to show people that astrotourism was very viable and that it could be done. And we're very happy to help other people and other businesses to incorporate Starlight activities, whatever it may be, into their own businesses too. Because like I said, this is not just a one unit thing, it's all of Nova Scotia. So, starting with, Southwest Nova is a great place, since, I live here. It's a great place to start, and, we can really set the stage for future towns.
Okay. And just one other question. And if, looking at the town, if there was one thing that you could say that you would like to see happen, that we could do that would make a difference, not to say that it's going to happen, but what would that be?
Really a retrofit or a change of the commercial lighting. Because I think from what I'm seeing in the light pollution maps and from what, driving around the town, the parking lot Stars Road is pretty bad. It's a challenge. The parking light, the lighting in, for example, the parking lots and such is a little bit of a challenge. The thing is with lighting, especially on a larger scale, it is a challenge to change the light right away. I think really the first step is to halt the future, to stop the future light pollution from increasing. That's your first step. To increase, add your land use bylaw, make the changes to that right away. Have that information in the hands of the inspectors that provide building permits and contracts for the city, and give them the information on how to do it. Like we're working with Nova Scotia Power, so that they can actually, their call center, when people call in on, the general public calls in and say, I want a street light outside my home, because for whatever reason, that yes, we'll give you one of those, but you are in a dark sky area, so we have to give you this light and we have to install it this way. So, that's the kind of thing, that we're doing. And So I think the first thing, yeah, again, is to get the land use bylaw and lighting bylaw in place so that we can stop it right now. That would be our first thing.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Mhm.
Jeff?
Yeah, I just wanted to make a comment about a message I received earlier this afternoon from an environmental physicist from Ottawa, Dr. Peter White. He works with Natural Resources Canada. He was aware this presentation was being made to the committee of the whole this afternoon, and he wanted to reach out to make sure that we did anything we could to help promote it. I know Peter from childhood. He was a friend and neighbor of mine growing up, so it was nice to hear from him, but impressive that he was aware of your presentation, Tim, and the good work you're doing.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Any questions?
I
Well,
believe
Tim-
Neil wants to speak.
Oh, Neil, are you on again, or did you not put your hand down? And Jeff?
I forgot to take my hand down, sorry.
That's what I thought. We're good. Okay, so Tim, again, thank you on behalf of not just council, but the entire town. We know how important this is. And, for many reasons, but to Neil's point, we want to drive visitors here.
Yeah.
And this certainly does it. We're also in the biosphere, which is tremendously important to us.
It is.
So yeah, we're in a really good space. We just have to make sure that we do our part. So thanks again for coming on and sharing all this with us. And it looks like there's a lot of interest in doing the right thing.
Well done. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Tim.
Thank you.
Okay, folks. We're going to go into staff reports now. So if we're ready for that, the CAO's report is there. Does anybody have any questions for the CAO? Okay, fire department report. So is the chief on? I can't see who's on. I suppose I could if I went over to participants.
He is on.
Okay.
I'm here, yep.
All right, thanks, chief. Any questions for our fire chief? No?
I do.
I do too. Go ahead, Wade. Just a quick one.
Okay, sorry. I'm just curious as to whether or not you have any interest in recruits. Anybody going for anything? Anybody asking?
I've got a couple that I signed up within the past week and a half. I have I think 3 applications out now with some good interest, and we're getting more all the time. So we're getting really good feedback from what we've come up with so far. Sure.
All right, thank you. Let's keep pushing.
Yeah, that's excellent. Thank you. That was sort of my same question. So good stuff, Wade. Okay, anything else for the chief? Are you having fun yet?
Yeah, I'm enjoying it. I figured out that there's still lots I had to learn, which I knew that when I graduated high school many years ago, that you stop learning when you're dead. So yeah, we're getting there.
Yeah, I'm a few years in too, and I haven't even tapped the surface. So that's right.
Oh, I'm lucky. I've had good support from staff and Jeff and all the staff has been great for sure.
Wonderful, thank you. Well, we certainly appreciate everything you do. Okay, no more questions for the chief. Okay, good stuff. Operational services. So Chad's on, I believe. Yep, Chad's on. Anything for Chad? Okay, so we'll go to the deputy mayor, then Gil, and then Wade.
Chad, I'm just wondering if there's any progress at the South End School Playground. I know you guys, the backboards down there look great, new hoops, new net, hearing some great things from the kids down there playing, and would like to be able to just maybe give an update on the lights if you could, please. Thank you.
Yeah, sure. So I apologize for the delay. However, we're dealing with Nova Scotia Power, and because that service had been disconnected for so long and the town of Yarmouth wasn't the original customer, I've had to jump through a few hoops. However, Nova Nova Scotia Power has scoped it out and requested that we install a new meter base and a panel, which we've had our contractor do. And Nova Scotia Power has come back and inspected that work and has green lighted the reconnection. And that reconnection should take place within the next couple of weeks. So once that circuit's energized, we're going to test all the components to see what is functioning. We're assuming the lights don't work, but we've got to make sure that the electrical wiring to each individual post works. So hopefully I'll have something more concrete by the next meeting.
Thanks, Chad.
Yep, you're welcome.
Thank you. Councillor Dares?
Thank you. Chad, just a quick question. I've had a couple of inquiries about street cleaning. And in some cases, I've indicated that they probably won't clean streets where there's no curbs for fear of flinging gravel. And so I've assumed that, and that's the answer I've given. I hope I'm correct. One of the questions, though, is in regards to Carroll Avenue. And I believe that the street is curbed on both sides, and people were concerned about the weeds that were growing up in the crack. Apparently, one time the street cleaner included that on a regular route, but in recent years that hasn't happened. So I'm just passing it on for information purposes. Thank you.
Okay, yep, thanks. We have a fairly new operator on the street cleaner, so he may not be familiar with the schedule, so I'll pass that along. Thanks.
Thank you. And Councillor Cleveland?
Hi, my question actually goes back to the development which is happening on Parade Street. Of course, we're going to be tearing that all apart in construction. And I have a couple of residents on the forward side that's close to the corner between Parade and Main who are quite concerned as to what happens once everything is tore up, where they're going to be able to park. And they've been asking me a lot. So I was hoping I could ask you guys and get kind of at least a rough answer as to a little bit about what the calendar looks like and the timeline, but also about where they're going to be able to park while that construction is being done.
That's more of a Mark Brophy question, I think.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, I'll go. It is going to look a lot different than what Main Street did. Main Street, we had a major underground work with bumps and everything. We kind of shut down most of the road for a 2-month period. And everyone remembers the full length being shut down, but in actual fact, it was done in 2 phases, but it gets forgotten. So on Parade Street, the first thing is to replace the rock sewer, which goes just about to the new school, okay? And we're breaking that down into 3 components. If you remember how we did Glebe Street, you have to open up the rock sewer after you find it, because they don't necessarily go in straight lines. It could be middle of the road, could be the side of the road. You got they meander. So we open up upstream a little bit, sandbag it, install a pump, and then pump it around so that we can start down closer to First Street and bring it up. Then we advance to a second segment and the third segment. So when we first start, we will only shut down from, I believe it's First to Willow, and then there's a first section to shut down. Unfortunately, when you have a hose going down the road and open trenches, we're going to cut off driveway access. But once that section of pipe is done, backfilled and graveled, we advance the pipe up, and then you access from the Main Street side up to those driveways. So for the couple of days when we were a week, till we have that pump section active, there's no access to the driveways. That part's true. We will notify police, fire, ambulance that. I mean, if there was an accident during the day, the equipment's going to move over. It's right in their safety plan. They're going to move over and allow emergency vehicles to get through. But there's not going to be traffic if our pipe is dead center and we have an excavator there. You can't get by it during the day. So it's that part's not going to happen. So if that makes sense, the rock sewer is the deepest excavation, widest, and it meanders. So when we do the first length, it's going to take week to 2 weeks before we open up the people's driveway again. Does that make sense?
It does. Where do those people park in the meantime? What do we do about that? Or do we do anything?
There has been communications out there. Again, it's a short length of the school, and it's broken into 3 components. And unfortunately, the best answer is side streets right now, and the sidewalks are being maintained.
Okay.
I think Sunny, maybe I shouldn't say this. I think Sunny's going to be, pretty vigilant on that. I mean, there's nothing else they can do except park on those side streets. And when we look, there's only from First Street to Second Street there's not much space there. It's not a long walk. There's not a long walk. I got the emails too, Wade, with the, request to do a little bit better, but there's nothing we can do. You good?
Gonna have to be.
Yeah. Heather and then Gil.
Chad, my question is to do with sidewalks and not construction or anything like that, but just the debris and the dirt that are on all the downtown sidewalks. And I spoke to Todd the other day, and I understand that might not be kind of directly related to you fellas, that there may be another entity that comes into that. But all the sidewalks on Main Street are really, really dirty with dirt. Now that may have come from some of the construction, but there are, like, even up by Town Hall and Frost Park, I don't think it's so much from construction. There's just a lot of loose gravel, a lot of grass, just really untidy. And so I'm just wondering if there's something that we can do about that.
Yeah, for sure. Probably most of that debris is just winter sand. Mm-hmm. And we do have a sidewalk sweeper, or our sidewalk plow with a sweeper attachment. We can have them come out early morning next week and sweep that to the curb.
Now, if they don't get it all, because I know with a sweeper, you're not micromanaging it kind of thing, you're going through and doing it. Yeah. Is there any problem with volunteers going out and just kind of sweeping some of that up? Because I was understood that might be a union issue. And so I'm just asking before we do it.
No, absolutely not. No issues with the union if volunteers are going to take care of that.
Okay, just to go in and just kind of clean. The other thing I remember, and I think it was back in when we had Play On here in Yarmouth, that we went down through Main Street with a edge clipper for all the grass along the lawns and the curbside grass, and it just cleaned it up and cut it and edged it all. And I haven't seen that done since. And I just remember what an impact that made on our Main Street. It would make an impact on any of our streets, but I don't know if we have the manpower to do all that. So I just kind of throw that out as something that, whether that's an option, it just so cleaned up that Main Street when people are walking on it.
I'm sorry, just to clarify, where on Main Street was that done?
Well, I know it was down where I live, which is down by McDonald's, because I remember thinking I've lived here for 40 years and I've never seen this happen. And I was so excited, and because usually I'm out there with my little edger trying to edge, and we had this machine that went through and just edged and cleaned up all the sidewalks and brought it back to where the sidewalk would be, begin, type of thing on each side. And it was just, it just looked wonderful. And I think that was back for Play On that we did that, and it's never been done again. I don't know if that's machinery we have or if we rented it. I don't know, but.
No, we have the machinery. It's probably more of a resource issue.
And that's what I thought.
Like that, yeah, we could drum up the resources to do it, but perhaps not on a regular basis.
Yeah, even if we did a little bit at a time, or the primary spots. But I just remember thinking, oh my God, this looks so good.
Yeah, it does.
It's just like I could have gone out and kissed the guys that were doing it. It was just looked so good. So if we have it, it might be good to do a little bit every year or whatever.
Sure.
Who was next? That was Gil, Councillor Dares.
Yeah, just a quick follow-up with Mark regarding the Parade Street work. Just two quick questions. Did I understand that most of the driveways would only be closed off for a maximum of 2 weeks?
Any underground job, there's surprises. And the first segment, always you have a lot more to figure out. Luckily, we got an experienced contractor who's done it before. I'd like to say 2 weeks, But don't forget, there's 3 passes that have to come down that road. The first pass is the rock sewer, where we replaced with pipe. That's the sanitary. Then we do a pass with the storm, but that doesn't have hose. And then we do the last pass shallower with water right to Pleasant Street. So it's iterative. So yeah, so initially I would say 2 weeks for that hose, then we advance, and then 2 more weeks, and then we advance, and then we're done the hose. After that, we have to start again with the storm lines. 3 separate lines have to go up the road.
Okay, thank you. And just as a quick question, the residents in that area during that time period, if it could be more than 2 weeks, is there any suggestion what they do with garbage pickup and green card?
That's a good question.
Thank you.
Well, we will know what day it's collected. We're going to have to make the best effort we can.
Yeah, just to jump in there, when we did Cliff Street a few years ago, with similar issues, and so and same contractor, so we'll figure that out, make sure the residents are aware. But garbage was picked up. I think there was a little bit of an effort to make sure that it was taken to where it could be collected from whichever segment at that time was blocked off from the collection vehicle. So. We'll look after that, but that's a good flag to raise there, Gil. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. What I'll do is I'll suggest to the residents in that area that they sign on to Alertable.
Yeah, we need to have Mike put those points out, Jeff. The garbage, the Alertable. Anything else, folks, that you're thinking? The ability to park on the side streets, and are they going to get tickets on the side streets?
They're not going to get tickets, Your Worship. But I've also said to the project engineer, Demario Dunkley, that if individuals had particular issues that that they raise with him, for which we need to put our heads together and solve, just to let me know, and we'll deal with them. So Demario is the primary contact, and Mike has put that out in immediate release, and so he'll keep me informed if there's issues that can't be resolved or need to be elevated.
Yeah. Okay, that's perfect, because sometimes if somebody's not happy with one answer, then I get a call, then you get a call, then Wade gets a call.
Yep.
And, it's hard to, so good. That's good. Councillor Lesser?
Just a one-off on the garbage collection. I had a resident ask last week they put their garbage out. They said the night before. I think that probably came to town hall somehow, I'm hoping. But with COVID protocols, I'm not sure how they report it. She put her garbage out. It wasn't picked up at all, and she said that's never happened before. Not that it's a big deal, because it was a one-time thing, but what is the protocol when somebody has put garbage out and it just didn't get picked up? Is there a number they can call for that? And I don't know, I guess I'm maybe Jeff, or I don't know who I'm asking, but is there some way that they can report that if the garbage didn't get picked up? Because if not, with garbage, it's another 2 weeks. So.
Those calls usually come to our office, Councillor Lesser. It's a solid waste line.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Good. Anyone else? Okay, put your hands down if you're done. All right, we're good. Gil, you okay? Anything else for Chad, folks? Okay, Planning and Economic Development, Natalie. And Natalie's on. Do we have any questions for Natalie? Go ahead, Councillor Hatfield. You're muted. You're muted, Heather.
Sorry, start again. Just wondering with a potential opening in the middle of June for our businesses on Main Street and around, is there any plan to promote that shop local, not to run off to Halifax to buy goods, which because everybody I'm sure is waiting to get to Halifax. So do we have any kind of promotion going on to say, hey, let's stay here, let's promote? I know that, you know, we've been doing that during lockdown, but is there anything when it does open, like the I Love Yarmouth promotion again or something like that?
Councillor Hatfield, the Chamber has the Love Yarmouth and Buy Local campaign, and that will continue. And actually that's going through some paid promotion. They've got collateral. So one of the things that I will have to review is the Downtown DTY program that we had. We sort of laid that low because we don't really want to encourage people mingling. So that's something that I will look at reopening when it's appropriate. But the Chamber with YASTA is pushing the Buy Local and I Love Yarmouth.
Okay, and that will be hyped up, I guess, when we do come out of lockdown.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you.
I have to say this. I did have a couple conversations yesterday, but I don't know how the lockdown will roll out. But hopefully, because there are no cases here, there may be potential of, you know, we can open our businesses, but that the travel restrictions may be in place, right? So we don't need people traveling to Halifax and people from Halifax traveling here. What we need is for our businesses to be able to open locally, you know, because there's no cases, that kind of thing. So that's the hope, but we'll certainly know more tomorrow. Any questions, any more questions for Natalie? If you're not following her on Twitter, you need to. I'll tell you, Nat, you're a sunshine. You're a ray of sunshine in my day when I see your posts. They're so positive and happy and yummy. Go ahead, Councillor McLeod. You're on mute, though. There you go.
Well, Natalie, I just wanted to say thanks to you and Reese for working away while I was in another location where I least expected to be. So I'll be around sometime to say hello to Reese again and yourself. So thanks very much. Love what's going on with the plan for Sunset Terrace. And so I'm looking forward to that. So
Thank you. We miss you,
thanks very
John.
much, Natalie and staff.
Thank you.
Okay, we're good. All righty, thanks, Natalie. Engineering, Mark Son. Any questions on that? I did have one question. Go ahead, Deputy.
Oh, I'd just like to say that our engineer has become the project lead on the Mariner Center stuff that we're doing and got, you know, a little ahead on time on the Mariners on Main. I'm wondering if we could have any updates on things going on or whatnot. And congratulations, glad to have you on board, Mr. Brophy.
Sure. Mariners on Main, that's we're starting to get into that one. So the pool lights have been replaced, and the next step is the grouting of the tiles so we can get some water in the pool. The grout is supposed to arrive the end of the week, and the contractor is supposed to start the end of the week. And the lights look great, and I can't wait to see the water sparkling. And Steve, you can come down and join me and turn the valve when we're ready if you want.
Count me in, bud.
Councillor Dares and then Councillor Lesser.
Yes, just a quick question, Mark, regarding the intersection of Vancouver and Maine. Someone had asked me about the scope of the work there, and I had no idea. So I'm just wondering if you could elaborate on that.
Oh, someone probably saw the surveyors out there. This is a concept plan of some work, including lights, road repairs, and the underground. So it's very preliminary. It's a concept. it's certainly a future project.
Okay, and
When
then I
people,
guess the
when people see
question,
surveys, they expect the excavators right behind them, but there's no work in the near future.
no, I think what they were asking was, would the intersection itself be altered in any way?
Not the plan right now.
Okay, thank you.
It's more of a maintenance project.
Thank you.
That was the question I had for you, so we don't need mine. And Councillor Lesser, did you have a question?
I think my hand was just kind of resting up in my head.
Oh, well, that's good. There you go.
But since since you asked, I echo what the deputy said. I talked to Durham, I think yesterday when he was out for a walk, or the day before, and he said the same thing. Like, without Mark on board, like, you're the biggest cheerleader for this, and we're very lucky to have you here. And thank you very much for all the work you're doing on the Mariners Center and Mariners on Main.
Thanks a lot. It's exciting projects for sure. If I could, I was expecting a question on number 3, the yard lighting on the ferry terminal. So I was ready for that one, actually. So actually, when we awarded that last year, Councillor Hatfield asked me that question about how does that affect the ratings. So I reviewed that with the consultant. Various secure installations, whether it be D&D, corrections, Transport Canada, or in this case, border crossing, there's strict light requirements that have been developed over the years, and it's a slow thing to change. There's cameras. They want to be able to record things, and if there's any breaches, they can play back the tape and find things. So it's actually quite a high standard for light. But I challenged after Councillor Hatfield's question, I challenged the consultant about that, and the number that was given the presentation today was 2,700 Kelvin for color temperature. We had specified 5,000, which is quite a bit more. So after reviewing with the consultant, we reduced it to 4,000. So that was a positive step. But the most important thing is there's something called an uplight rating, a UO, and we've got a U0, which means everything is directed down. So we addressed that too. I'm lucky Councillor Hatfield mentioned that to me, because otherwise there'd be 5,000 and there to be. So thanks for bringing that to my attention, and we took care of that.
Good stuff. Thanks, Mark. Anything else for Mark? Good stuff. Okay, Finance Department. I don't see a report, because I guess we gave Jerry the money he needed and he disappeared.
Gone for the year. Oh, there he is.
Yeah. Hi. Just a couple comments, if I can steal a few minutes of your time.
Absolutely.
Just one outstanding item, I guess, as far as our town operation and budgets go, is we haven't put together or haven't approved a water utility budget. So I'll just ask in the next few days, early next week for sure. The budget's done. It's been reviewed by myself and by the different managers, directors that are involved with it. We've put it together. So I hope to, in the next couple of days, just basically put a package together, and I'll get that out to Councillor Barry as the chairperson. Let him take a quick look through it, ask questions, whatever, and hopefully in the next week or two, we can have a water utility meeting where we can go through that budget and get that passed. That's the one last budget piece outstanding for the town. Just another comment, I guess, for staff. Next Monday, Joelle Dutchmont starts back to work off from maternity leave. So getting her set up now. She's going to start working from home, and she'll help us with our audits, which is what we've been working on for the last few weeks since we got the other budgets that are passed. So auditors actually start work with us on Monday with the Mariner Center and the Waste Park. They always do those first, and then probably about 4 weeks or so from now, they'll start digging into the water utility and the town's budgets or audits. So things progressing as they should. Everyone's able to work from home. Payments are coming in. People are using the Dropbox, so I want to thank them for that. More and more each year are using online. That's just the way of the future. And yeah, so things are being paid, and we're getting paid. So things are okay in the finance department.
Thank you, Jerry. Yeah, we still get questions on how can people pay, but it's, we've put the information out there. So, that's banking, that's the outdoor Dropbox, it's online, so we're good.
Yeah, we're up to about 150, I guess, customers or payees with using EFTs. So they send us invoices and we do direct deposit to about 150 individuals / businesses at this point. So that's helped.
Any questions for Jerry? Okay, good. Thanks, Jerry.
Okay.
Yarmouth Recreation, there's a report attached there. Any questions? I don't see Frank. It's probably there and I can't see it. There he is. I'm on the side there, Frank, and I can't see. Frank's here. Any questions for Frank? Are good? What happens if we don't get back up and running? What happens to your students?
Well, we'll hire as many as what we can do with whatever restrictions we're under. We're hopeful that restrictions will allow us to do some things. So we'll do whatever we can to try to celebrate and have a summer and try to be COVID free.
Yeah, because the kids are going to be on the streets in a couple weeks. I say on the streets, I don't mean that. I mean out of the off the kitchen table and the laptops and looking for a lot of things to do, whether it's solo or in groups, whatever we're allowed to do. So okay.
So we did have some good success with some pop-up programs around last summer. We're planning on continuing that again this summer. But, our summer day camps are always the big program for us in the summer, and we're just hopeful that we'll be able to do something perhaps in groups of 15 or 20.
Okay. Councillor Lesser?
Yeah, I was just going to say with the summer programming, last summer, my grandson Ryder, I think, went to most of what you offered, and there were days that he was one of only a couple kids there, but loved every moment of it. So if we do get that up and going, if maybe through Mike and through council, we could really promote those, because I know we have to keep the numbers probably at a small range, but they were well organized and the kids that went loved them. So work on that. And if we do get it up and running, I'd love to promote it more as well.
For sure.
Any more questions for Frank? Okay, thanks. All right, business, Mariner Center expansion. There's no attachments, I asked Lindsay. So Jeff, I'm going to let you take these if you don't mind.
Sure, not at all. No problem. So Mariner Center expansion, of course, council's participated in a joint session, a successful joint session, and the draft notes have been circulated, I believe, today. But there is one bit of business coming up from the expansion steering committee, and that is related to giving Mark some resources to work with so that he can engage EXP to continue the work to get the application done. And then there's going to be other work that the steering committee is going to have to undertake to keep the project going. We have settled on a funding formula between the municipal units, which is a really great bit of work on your behalf, and congratulations on that. The suggestion I made by email earlier today, Your Worship, was that perhaps we allocate $30,600 to the Mariner Center expansion work, and that would be our share of a $100,000 pot of money for them to draw on to do the work that's going to be necessary.
Okay. So questions for Jeff, or can I have that in a motion if you're comfortable? If you're not, then Councillor Cleveland, go ahead.
I think we're kind of overwhelmingly ready to make that motion. So I would like to make that motion. There are levels of government, as everybody knows, that we go through with these. We have a meeting and then something has to be approved. And then we have another meeting and something else has to be approved. So as much as we can get done in one foul swoop to make it easier and to speed things along, makes it much, much better. So yeah, I'd like to make that motion.
Okay, Councillor Dares?
Yeah, I'll second the motion. I think that the recommendation by the CAO for the 30,600 is appropriate and probably will move things forward in a quicker manner. Thank you.
Thank you. Moved and seconded. Any more discussion, questions, anything? Jim, can you say something to us, even if you just say it? You're muted. You're muted, but I think what you're saying is question. Okay, sorry. All those in favor? Aye. Contrary?
Question, Your
Motion.
Worship. Question, Your Worship.
Thank you. We have so missed you. I love the rest of council, but nobody calls a question like you do.
Dear. At least I made you smile. At least I made you smile a little bit.
You did make us. You always make us smile. That's for sure. It just feels good having you here. Go ahead, there, Deputy.
Oh, I think it's great the progress that we've made in just the last month or so when it comes to Mariners on Main and Mariner Center itself, and just the ability for our 3 local governments to come together and finally, you know, be cohesive and really be working together. I've watched the meetings of the other councils and, you know, the work that Wade and the board are doing out there in Durham. It's really great. It's a lot of the problems that I have with politics is the talk, and we're finally getting down to the walk. So I'm really excited. So glad that we just approved that and looking forward to keep on moving forward.
Go ahead, Councillor Dares.
Yeah, I just have to say that everybody knows I've got a bit of a history with the Mariner Center, and I've never felt more positive about the future for this facility. I have frequent meetings with my neighbor over the back fence, who happens to be Durham, and we discuss this over the back fence on Sunday mornings. But I've had a number of actually good meetings at his request, just outlining the history of the facility, but I've never felt more positive that having the three municipal units coming together as they have. I'm very encouraged, and I'm really looking forward to the future, not for myself, but for my grandchildren. And I want to thank everybody that has been participating in these meetings, because you've moved this forward at a record pace.
Yeah, good stuff. Okay, I called the question. Did I vote? All those in favor? Aye. Contrary? Motion carried. I think I voted twice. And then the deputy needed to talk, so I got messed up. Okay, so that's Mariner Center. Okay, demolition order 303-305 Main, CAO.
Yes, Your Worship. So this may be something that you're going to want to speak to your solicitor in camera about. Greg has had some discussions that I think can inform where we go here, but this was put on the agenda because council had given a 14, I guess, tabled the issue for 14 days, and that brings us to today. So, Your Worship, if it's all right with council, we'll just move this later on the agenda when we do our in-camera stuff. And
yep, anybody not okay with that? All right, good, thank you. Visitor Information Center.
Yeah, this is for information, but it's important, and so I've asked for it to be put on the agenda. So I was contacted earlier this month by a person with the province of Nova Scotia, and they were advising that that there is an intention or a plan to close the Visitor Information Center on 4th Street, and my response was to inform them. First of all, thanks for the information, and the operation of the VIC aside, the town of Yarmouth provided the land for that development to the province, and there was a condition in that back in 1973 that if it was ever ceased to be used as a visitor information center, that it would be turned back to the town. And so I advised them of that, as well as our willingness to negotiate the terms under which that may occur if the VIC closes. So I want council to be aware that that is on the docket for the province to do, or for Tourism Nova Scotia to do, and that there will be more information forthcoming down the road on that one.
Staff, thank you.
Your worship.
Go ahead.
I think when we were on the tour of the town months ago, I guess prior to the COVID lockdown, I mentioned about part of the building, the side facing forestry. The paint's not, like, it's starting to look run down. And I know, if they're looking at getting rid of the building, they may not be interested in painting it, but I'm just wondering if there's a possibility they could spruce it up a little bit, even though the ferry's not running this summer. It's a government building right now that's not looking the greatest on the outside. I don't know if that's a possibility that we can request that.
When I did get the phone call, I kind of joked in a way, Councillor Lesser, to say I thought you were calling because you were informing us you were going to paint the building. I did raise that at the time, and I'm doubtful that will fall within their plans as they head in the direction they are, unfortunately.
Okay, thank you.
Is it unsightly?
We'll have to send the administrator out to have a look.
We just might have to. Heather, go ahead.
Might have to take a road trip. I can tell you it looks a lot better than some of the other ones that have been deemed to be sightly. So yeah. I don't think we have to worry too much about that building. We have much worse to worry about.
Oh, okay. Thanks, folks. Killem Brothers building presentation. So
Jim wanted.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Jim. I was on my other screen.
That's okay. I'm still trying to figure out my screens, but I think I've got to it. Jeff, I thought that when the province decides that they don't want to be responsible for the activity and the ownership of the tourist bureau, I'll always call it, or the VIC, that it would revert to the town for $1. And
yeah. So
go ahead.
Sorry.
Yeah.
No, finish your thought.
And a bucket of paint.
I just wanted to make sure that that's one more piece of infrastructure that we could be responsible for, and I don't know where I stand for sure on that. I don't want to have infrastructure just for the sake of having it. It might make a good arts and cultural center, right?
I don't know about that, Councillor McLeod, but I would say that I would say that when we gave it to them, it was a clear piece of land. And when we take it back, that might also be an option, that it's a clear piece of land, or that there's the money that comes with it to fix up any deficiencies with the building that might exist. So there's a negotiation that would have to occur in terms of what gets turned back and in what way. So I've alerted my contact about that, and I'm just waiting to hear back.
Thank you very much, Jeff.
Oh, Gil, were you going to say something?
Yes, just to let you know that it was probably some time ago that I had a conversation with the MLA regarding the electronic signage at that location, and that if the province was to abandon the building, that perhaps that could be repurposed at the Mariner Center. The sign at the corner of the Mariner Center is old and obsolete, and so I just wanted to put it on record that there was some discussion with the MLA at that time, and that was going to be a consideration. It can certainly be more useful at the corner of Stars Road and Jody Shelley Drive than it is where it's located now.
Good. Thank you. All right, the Killem Brothers building presentation. So Jeff and I did meet with Patty Durkee and David Salos briefly, just to have a chat. So the recommended motion is that council invite them both to present at a future meeting about the Killem Brothers building and the activity in there. Go ahead, CAO.
Sorry, I'd like to elaborate on that just a little bit for context. So, a few years ago, previous council had given the Southwest Biosphere the opportunity to occupy the Killem building for the purpose of hopefully someday developing a science-based center there that would help to promote the activity, the science activity, and the environmental activity that's going on in Western Nova Scotia, and give a home to that that UNESCO designation, and kind of be an education center, a small science center. They've moved in, and they've been proceeding with their activity. And I don't know if councillors have had an opportunity to see the TVO show that was done about some of the science that's going on in the area. Anyway, fast forward to a couple of years ago, the Friends of the Light moved their museum from the lighthouse in Cape Forshue and relocated as the Waterfront Museum as subtenants to the Biosphere and occupying part of the Killem building. They've developed a vision for the top 2 floors of the Killem building as a museum, and they've done some work to that end. The conversation that Mayor Mood and I had with David and Patty was just about the differences, I guess, in vision between what council had in the day when they provided the building to the Biosphere as a base of as a presence, and where the museum is headed with it. And so I think what I suggested is it's appropriate that they have the opportunity to present to council, and that council have a thoughtful reflection on what it is that you want the future of the building to be. If it is a museum, they have a clear vision for that. If it is not a museum, then they need to know that and adjust their vision otherwise. If it's not as a science center or something for the Biosphere, we perhaps have to look at other options for that. So it's just a matter of making an informed decision around on the future vision for the building, and sharing that, making it known so that all can plan accordingly. So I think the presentation is the first step in that, and encourage you to pass the motion to get that ball rolling.
Good.
So moved.
Okay, moved by Councillor McLeod, second by Councillor Lesser. Any discussion or questions?
I have a conflict of interest with that, so I'm just going to step away.
Okay.
I just have a question. Heather wouldn't really have a conflict of interest with that, would she?
No, there's no, that's up to her to declare, but if there's no pecuniary, there's no money or anything.
Okay, for them, okay, that's fine then.
That's my take, Jeff, I don't know.
No, you don't, it's up to Heather to determine her conflict, but.
Okay for me to vote to have them come, okay.
Call for the question.
Okay. Questions called. All those in favor?
Aye.
Contrary? Motion carried. Yarmouth Ferry Terminal, building expansion and renovation.
Your Worship, there's a tender attached. Mark is still on if you'd like to speak to it.
Do you want to speak to that one, Mark?
Sure can. There's now some recent pressure from CBSA to advance the yardsticks on the improvements to the existing terminal building to meet present and new security and operational requirements. The funding we have under phase 1, their first priority was the new booths, canopies, yard work, lights, which has all been done. Now they're requesting the next phase to start in the for the terminal building. So to meet their requirements, we actually started work last fall on that, and through I guess we'll say an iterative process back and forth, we developed what's called a bubble diagram. A bubble diagram is like a concept that shows room sizes, adjacencies, how it flows, how it operates. And to meet their present standards, we actually got to bump out a piece north and south and a full renovation, which is quite expensive. So to move the yardsticks, we have to take this bubble diagram and get to a 33% architectural, so they can sit around a table and mark it up and then come up with, okay, this architectural layout will meet our needs. And so I asked for 2 proposals for this deliverable on the 33% drawings. And 2 proposals was the existing consultant who did phase 1 and the same architect that did the fire hall and Lake Milo. You'll see the numbers are quite a difference. I believe that the existing consultant put way more into their package than I requested, and that's unfortunate, but that's not what I asked for. I asked for 2 drawings. And I have full confidence that the new architect will do this. Actually, the CBSA have changed project managers. The timing is kind of perfect. You have a new architect with new eyes and not going to be set in their bubble diagram. I'm really pleased to work with her. So do I fear her being too low? She can't deliver? Not a chance. I'm really happy with her proposal. So with your approval, we'll start that concept design. And again, that's something the CBSA signs off on. We have a plan. Then the next step would be to procure a full design contract to get to a tender document. That would be quite expensive, and that would be on the procurement website to get that service.
Thank you, Mark. Okay, go ahead, Councillor Dares.
I'd like to make the motion to accept the recommendation of the engineer.
Thank you. Seconded by Deputy Mayor. Any further discussion?
Your Worship.
Go ahead.
Too bad that the federal government just didn't keep the building to begin with, because they're I know we're all thinking it, but they have high demands, but you know that we ended up with the building in a small community, and you know our partners, like, is this a 3-way partnership with the other councils on this on the project?
It was. Jeff can speak to that.
So we own the ferry terminal. The town of Yarmouth does. And that's, you know, that's what we were advised was necessary back in the day when the ferry had closed and you know, we were trying to get ferry service restored for 4 years. When it came to the ferry terminal, we were advised that that was the way that it had to go. The federal government did not have a ferry terminal divestiture program policy. They developed it specifically for us in this one-off instance, and divested the property to us. So you're right, it is unfortunate. As far as the phase of work that Mark is nearing completion on, it was a $9 million project. The District of Yarmouth contributed 40% of the local share, and Argyle contributed 10% of the local share, and the balance, 50% of it came on the backs of the town of Yarmouth. The next phase that Mark is talking about with this expansion renovation work is going to be a larger phase financially, and we're having conversations. We've shared information with the province, so they're aware. But anyway, the first, not to get too far ahead, but you're right. It's unfortunate that we own it, but that was what we were advised at the time was necessary, and that's what we have to live with, I guess, for now.
And just for clarity, I fully support the motion. It's a shame that infrastructure sometimes gets passed down that way, and locally we are responsible to look after the cost.
Yeah, it's yeah, you're right. It's wrong on every level, quite frankly. I think we wanted it to go to the Industrial Commission, but they couldn't give it to an entity. They had to give it to a municipal unit, and we basically said, you know, we'll take it on behalf of everybody. But yeah, so okay. So the motion's made and seconded. Any further questions? Go ahead, Jim. Did you have questions, Paul? All those in favor? Aye. Contrary? Motion carried. Thank you, Mark. You just hear that I know what to do with. Okay, we've got correspondence, a presentation request, community care in Yarmouth. Sandy Evelyn. Somebody put that on. Lindsay may have put it on. Go ahead there, Wade.
If I may, Sandy actually applied to
Yes.
Lindsay to make the presentation, but I recommended that she did. She already gave me a presentation. Sandy is very involved in various seniors efforts, things like Elder Dog, which walks seniors' dogs and kind of links them up. And she does something called, I believe it's called Tech Savvy, but I'm probably wrong, where she teaches seniors how to use technology, that kind of thing. And she has a presentation kind of hoping to create kind of a unified organization. It's more for information than it is anything. She's not actually asking for anything, but I do think it's something we should be aware of. And so I was kind of hoping that you guys would approve her presentation.
Yeah, I didn't understand the scope until it's information right now. So thank you for that.
I'd like to see that presentation,
Yeah.
Wade and Pam.
You want to make the motion then, Jim?
So why not? Well, it's Wade's introduced it. I'll second Wade's motion.
You making the
Okay.
motion, Wade?
Then I'll make a motion.
Okay.
I'll
Second
second.
by
Stephanie.
Councillor McLeod. Any
Okay.
further discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Contrary? Motion carries. So Lindsay can line that up, and Lindsay make sure the time limits there. Okay, additions, bursaries. So we have, I had the two names written down. We only received two. How much money do we have, Jeff? Like 1,500 or something?
Sorry, I had trouble finding my mouse there. I think so. I think
Okay.
that's it. Got me
Okay.
cold.
Yep, so there's 1,500. We have two applications. Dominic Buchanan and Isabella Churchill. So I usually just sign off on them and we're good with the two. Give them each $750. Everybody okay with that?
Your worship,
Yes?
I have a conflict. I
Okay.
will, I'll
Yep.
recluse.
Mm-hmm. Okay, Councillor Lesser?
No, I'm just saying I'm good with it.
Oh, okay. You want to
No, no,
make the motion then?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, moved by Councillor Lesser, second by the Deputy Mayor. Did you want to just second that, Steve, or did you need to say something? You're good? Okay, any discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Contrary? Motion carried. Thank you. Okay, and that was it for today. So motion to go in camera. Councillor
Your
Dares? Yes? Yeah.
Sorry, do the motion, then I do want several staff people to stay for the first item.
Sure, okay. It was Councillor Dare, second by Councillor Lesser. Everybody good?
Yes, sir.
Okay,